I'm Mac.
Hi, and I'm Denise.
And welcome back to the January 2022 edition of Urban Lifestyle. Nice to see you this year.
I guess I could say the same for you.
It has been a crazy year. We went through a whole lot in 2021, everything from COVID to Black Lives Matter to what else?
Just a lot of social unrest and just the unrest, I would say, with all this resistance for doing right. I don't understand it. That's what my takeaway from it is.
Yeah. And again, a lot of things were going on. So what we decided to do was take a look at some of the positive things that happened in 2021. In addition to that, we had an interview that's coming up this time with LG&E and also a piece that we did with MSD. We'll take a quick break and back with more right after this.
Is more than just getting from one place to another. It's healthy, social, good for the environment, and anyone can do it. We at Middletown love cycling and really love helping others discover a new passion. Stop in today and let our friendly, knowledgeable staff help you get started. We cater to beginners as well as experienced cyclists. We're a local business that cares about our community because we are a part of the community. Come in today and get on a bicycle that fits your needs and improve.
You know, some of the shows that I was very fond of course, were the ones that featured me. How about yourself?
Oh, but that sounds about right for you. Yeah. I like the ones that did a lot of featuring of other people and what they did.
You are correct. Again, it was just a lot of fun, just kind of looking back and seeing some of the great times we had, getting out in the community and just showing you a slice of life here in Louisville. So take a look. Mr. Lamont Collins, welcome back to Urban Lifestyles. And the reason I say welcome back, we came to you when you were doing a fundraiser for it. You were on Bardstown Road and you were talking about your vision. Now here we are. So tell us, how did we get here?
Well, 2 years later, we're here. We were persistent. We did faith over finances, which so many black businesses have to do. Historically, that's what we have done as black people.
Tell us a little bit about your start, how you got from Hoptown to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a coach.
So in high school, I played 3 sports: football, baseball, basketball. West Virginia ended up recruiting me for football because I played quarterback and they had athletic quarterback Pat White. I went to West Virginia and ended up playing defense. I started like 40 straight games going into my second year, and Tampa, they drafted me to play cornerback for them.
Were the people that helped make this come together primarily all members of your church?
Yes, primarily these are Kingdom Fellowship leaders, but then we also have University of Louisville students who have come. We have a few other churches who their pastors and first ladies, House of Praise, Pastor Anderson, First Lady Henderson, who came out, and they've all volunteered because we all recognize how important this vaccination is.
Like 6,500. So I bought my food truck, and I was on my food truck for 2 years, and after that it just took off, and then I moved into my brick and mortar, and here I am with my second location.
And never look back.
No, sir. That's not an option.
All right. So how long does it take to prepare this meal?
About 10 minutes.
Okay. Cooking something from scratch, how do you get the same amount of ingredients every time? Because I know you don't measure.
I mean, it's just about being consistent. I've been doing it so long, I'm prone to it. So I don't know. I couldn't really tell you.
Share with me about how Georgia sweet potato pie got started. I know your husband is in with it and all the back line and the story that goes along with it because it smells so heavenly in here.
So actually, we're a family-run business. It's myself, my husband, and my son, and then my sister also volunteers to help us. And so we actually started because we wanted to raise money to buy books for children. And so actually, we sell pies. We're not a pie company. We sell pies to be able to purchase books to give them away free in the community.
Ferguson, first of all, congratulations on this project. What does it mean to see this come to fruition?
It just means a time of hope. Not only for Molo, but for the residents of our community. You know, we worked real hard to get to this place, and now to just see the support that we have in the building being here and all of the resources that are available for our community, you know, it brings hope.
Just share with us the significance of what this means, having the signage for Nanny Helen Burroughs, and how you came to help this put the pieces of this puzzle together.
Well, Nanny Helen Burroughs was a pioneer. She was a strong black woman leader in the early 1900s here in Louisville, Kentucky. She got her start. As a young woman, she had been discriminated against, and she wanted to have the best education she could have and to have the best opportunities for black women.
The answer was, well, we don't have a fenced-in backyard. Are you gonna take care of, the common questions you get as a child when you want to get a dog. And then lo and behold, a couple years later, we moved down the street, had a fenced-in backyard. I want to say I was probably about 11 or 12 when I got my first dog, Tyson, who was a black lab. That moment, let me know that I definitely wanted to be a veterinarian. So, through the years, I went to Barrett Middle School, and then I transitioned over to Mill. And so I followed through the academia, and then got accepted into Tuskegee University.
So all online, and then of course we've been doing these pop-up shops which give us exposure for folks to actually come and interact with us. But for the most part, I'm doing all e-commerce for the most part. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the caps that we see here.
Yeah, so one of the tagline of our organization is of our business rather is classic, dapper, and stylish, because most people either feel like they got that classic style, that dapper style, or they're just stylish in general.
So that's the first half of the year. What do you think? We did a lot, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's amazing when you look back in retrospect and see, wow, this is where we came through, this is what happened, and it's kind of fascinating to me. Yeah, but we've got more to cover that's coming up on the show further too.
So stay with us. We'll be right back.
At LG&E and KU, we're always working hard to make your life a little easier, because we know you've got your hands full. Our new mobile app gives you the power to check your account balance, review your payment history, and effortlessly pay your bill from anywhere, while making it easier than ever to report and track power outages. Download the app today to get the convenience of LG&E and KU at your fingertips.
So we're happy as we go into our 14th year that we've got some of our great sponsors back with us. And Denise, you had an opportunity to catch up with LG&E.
Yes, I did, because right now we are in the throes of winter. I once read where it says winter may start in December and goes to about March, but January is usually the month where the true winter hits. So I had an interview with Natasha, and we're talking about some tips to try to keep us safe, warm, and comfortable in our homes. And let's take a look. So today's segment is so important because we are right into the throes of winter weather. And today I'm going to have the privilege to talk with Ms. Natasha Collins with LG&E, and I call this segment still Energy Matters. And Natasha, welcome back again, and Happy New Year and happy winter time.
Happy New Year, Denise. I don't know about the happy winter time because I don't know. Sometimes winter doesn't feel so happy, does it? Because we know we've got cold temperatures, or at least temperatures that trend cold, even though they could be all over the place. But we are rolling with it, and we are into 2022. So Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you. And there have been different times when we have the Energy Matters segments with LG&E. But now I find it so important because I read a report that said January here in our area is where we're in the throes of true actual winter with the real freezing cold temperatures and the wind chills and so forth. And I can tell some of the tips, and we're going to go over them today, I have incorporated, and I can tell there's some more that I need to be refreshed on to learn about. So there are some major areas that we could do better in our homes, and how Jack Frost is stealing and making, I guess you could say, some of our bills go high. Tell us about that.
Well, like you mentioned, we are in the middle of winter. Winter starts in December, and it carries us through the middle of March. So we're still in the winter season, and we know that even though we get fooled with those 70 plus days like we already have this winter season, we still have quite a bit of the majority of the winter season left to go. So like you mentioned, it's so valuable to just a few simple energy efficiency related tips because they can make a big difference. We know that heating and cooling, according to EnergyStar.gov, account for about as much as 5% or more of our monthly energy bills. And so we just want to make sure that we're all thinking of, okay, if I can better manage my energy use, then I know that means I'll use less energy, which can better impact my energy bills, right? In terms of making them more manageable. So yeah, that's the whole point in being able to apply some of these tips, doing that, of course, and then also just being able to stay comfortable in your home when we do have these cold temperatures.
Yeah, go ahead, and because I want to know some of the major areas that we need to focus on.
Well, I consider you one of our unofficial experts because we talk with you guys about this so much, and we appreciate the opportunity to educate everybody else on it. But, you know, it's really not very difficult things, right? If we can all do small things, then they can make a big difference. So these are going to seem pretty ordinary, but they're just things. So it starts with your heating and cooling system. So your furnace, making sure that you have a certified professional head out and give it a checkup. We know that, you know, we rolled right from fall into winter, so it's perfectly fine if somebody didn't get their system checked out yet, but it's a good idea even right now to have your system checked out so that you make sure it's working in tip-top shape and that it will last, especially when we get into the coldest of winter, because we know how that can sometimes make your system go on the fritz because it's working so hard. If something's going to break down, it will in the severe temperatures. So part of keeping your system in tip-top shape, don't know if this will fit in the virtual frame, but furnace filters, right? So we want to replace those according to the manufacturer's instructions or monthly. The great thing to do is to take a pencil, put a date on it so that you know when you changed it. That's what I do because I always forget. Yeah. I try to buy them in multiples when I'm at the store so I don't have to remember except like maybe once a quarter, and then change them again, either monthly according to the manufacturer's instructions. And then that will help to also keep your system in tip-top shape. That's tip number 1 that I have for you.
And I do that tip.
Do you do that? Awesome.
I do
Virtual high five. The second one, I have this thermostat, and this is a programmable thermostat. Mm-hmm. And we always talk about these because if, you know, obviously you can use the manual just like you can the program. The benefit in having a programmable thermostat, if you do have one, is that you can set the temperature for the program. So the way that works is you think about the schedules of everybody in your home. People are working differently now. So I know that I've adjusted the temperature on my programmable thermostat because, you know, how I work is a little different than I did 2 years ago. But, you know, thinking about when people are home, when they're not, what's going to keep you comfortable. I know people are spending a lot more time at home, but still just thinking about, okay, we want to be warm, but we also, you know, can sacrifice a few degrees here or there, especially when the sun's up and, you know, when we have a little bit of the sun to heat the home. So think about the schedules of everybody in the home so that you're not heating an empty homes. Yes. And then, yeah, just set that into your program, and that's going to help you better manage your energy as long as you keep your finger off of the thermostat, because I know sometimes you put the program in and like me, you want to hit it like a degree or 2 up, but you keep to the program, then that will help you kind of stay within range of managing your energy use. So that's tip number 2.
You know, as always, Elgin and Natasha and Liz, they always bring some great tips to the table and information that we can all use to be better.
Yeah, she was kind of surprised because we're talking about where you should keep your thermostat set. Right. And of course, I keep it on 68. You don't like it. Like 78. No, yes. But I would say once I started plugging around some windows and doors because there was air coming in that was compromising, it made a big difference. And so I would say in some of the rooms where 68 is, you know it's comfortable. You know it is.
Yes, it is. It is much more comfortable, but it would be super comfortable on 74.
I don't want to sweat. I don't want my breath taken away. It's too hot.
We'll take another break and back with more. COVID-19 is responsible for over 700,000 deaths in the U.S., and that number continues to rise.
9,000 of those deaths were in Kentucky, but we can make a difference by taking the shot.
If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for someone you love.
We will never be able to get back to normal until we all do our part, so let's all get vaccinated.
So wear your mask, wash your hands, roll up your sleeves, and take the shot.
And the holidays are the times for families to get together. So please, take the shot.
Finding out through this pandemic, it's almost impossible to run into someone who's got a COVID story, and we've got one ourselves.
Yeah, that's true because youngest daughter, Tyler, came into Louisville starting the week of Christmas, traveling back home. And so she thought she was fine. She had gone to work and she was fine. And then when she was leaving out on that Monday evening, she started having these symptoms of her back hurting, her throat was sore. And she just said, well, it's no big deal because that was on Monday. Wednesday, I get my booster, so I'm good. And then,
of course, we were driving down to Atlanta on that Thursday, and she calls us and says, I just left the clinic and I tested positive. And I know you immediately yelled out, turn around, go back home.
No, I didn't. I said, I want to know what's going to happen because now that means we're going to have to lodge with the older daughter. And the older daughter rightfully says, I don't know what your COVID status is, so don't come to my house.
Right.
So out of respect for her home, we were headed almost to Chattanooga. We got off and
we went to the clinic. They tested us. We were both negative, so we ended up staying with our oldest daughter. And we did let Tyler come over, and we moved all the Christmas from in the house to out into the garage. We had a tape measure. We moved her 7 feet away from us. We had her with a chair mark, Tyler's COVID chair. And but you know, it was a good time, a great family event.
Well, actually, the timing worked out because Tyler had contracted it being around her boss.
Yes.
And the days that you count, the time we got there, she was at the end of her quarantine type days. Because at first she just had a sore throat for one day, got her booster, and then he said, let up your garage and we'll bring you some soup or whatever. And he took it up there and ran because it was like the COVID house.
Right, because we didn't want to take any chances. You know what?
And then it turned out good because even though the weather here for Christmas Day was great, it was 83 in Atlanta. And as you said, we were able to be outside and doing things, and the door was open. So it turned out, and by that time she was cleared off anyway.
And speaking of great stories, here's some more stories from 2021.
So we wanted to kind of keep that tradition going on, and it was a place that we enjoyed coming as well. So, yeah.
Now, one thing I have to let everybody know makes this place very special. It is a vegan cafe. And I had to learn the difference between vegan and vegetarian, and which is vegan means
no animal
products at all. Whereas if you're vegetarian, you could take in some eggs or dairy and just like that. Okay, now that means that you all's lifestyle is already vegan, and that's why you came up with this?
Yes. So we've been vegan for over 20 years now. We've raised our family, all of our kids vegan. So this is an integral part of our lifestyle.
My parents always told me I can do whatever I put my mind to. And my dad always told me since that I do have I don't want to call it a disability, but since I do have this limitation, I guess, I always got to put in extra work and work 110% harder. So I always just found a way, and whenever I needed for help, call for help, and I just had to find a way to make a way.
So when you were in high school, you played for Male and St. Francis. So did you play primarily singles or did you play doubles?
My freshman year at Male, I primarily played doubles, and we did pretty good. But once I transferred to St. Francis, my coach, Coach Matthew Taylor, he saw something in me, and then I played singles for the next 3 years at the number 1 spot.
So what is the strength?
What I like about it is you have a lot of representation through the years of the artists. So just share a little bit about how you start with some, I call it back even during the Harlem Renaissance period somewhat, and bring us forward. And in each of these generations, how they all is still the same thing of what we're witnessing and testifying.
That's it. And the goal was to show that what happened to George Floyd was nothing new to Black people. We've witnessed that for years. So I gave testimony through the art of Elizabeth Catlett and Jacob Lawrence, who Jacob Lawrence first printed in 1963. Two Rebels depicted police brutality against a Black man. And you can see in the background that the community is watching. So we were able to accomplish more because that community that we saw the injustice for years, that community grew to include a larger audience, white people, white mothers felt our pain.
And add a lot of intricate detail stitching. And they are 3 layers, so they actually are quilts, yes, but they're more for your wall than they are for your bed, so for you to visually enjoy them hanging on the wall.
Yeah, because that makes sense to me. I think when you think about a lot of different types of mediums, as people would say, this would be one where you're using the fabric and how intricate your work is. I know it's kind of hard for people. You have to be up close and personal in this. And on some of your works, you can see far away. But I just want to ask you now, are you officially, I guess you would say, a trained artist, like in the traditional sense, and then you went into this type?
Have the supplies they need, and all they have to do is focus on learning.
And we know this started 20 years ago. How did it all come about?
You know, that's a good question, Max. That wasn't one of the questions I was anticipating, but I do know that it was involvement of one of our employees with one of our local organizations, community organizations, and then from there it just kind of became something annual that, you know, we love to do because we like to see how we can make a difference and you know, in the lives of our children and the lives of our future and the lives of our community. And so, yeah, after that it took off, and every year we've had a drive similar to this.
Now, you've got a lot of employees here, so how many bags are you all stuffing?
Yeah, so this year, coming back from post-COVID era.
Well, you know, 2021, as we look through the rearview mirror, it was a great time. I think we did some fantastic stories. Again, I just really enjoyed getting out in the community, meeting, and just finding out some of the things that are going on that sometimes would go unnoticed.
Yeah, even though there was a lot of things that were unrestful, there were still a lot of things that we captured as we saw that was still forging ahead and still has some positivity in it.
You are correct. We'll take another break and back with more right after this. COVID-19 is responsible for over 700,000 deaths in the U.S., and that number continues to rise.
9,000 of those deaths were in Kentucky, but we can make a difference by taking the shot.
If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for someone you love.
We will never be able to get back to normal until we all do our part, so let's all get vaccinated.
So wear your mask, wash your hands, roll up your sleeves, and take the shot.
And the holidays are the times for families to get together. So please, take the shot.
So Denise, you've been very busy early in January, and you got an opportunity to go out and talk with the people at MSD. So tell us about that.
This is an exciting interview for me because we're starting the year off and it's with MSD. And I love the initiative that they took because it's on their website. You can go there and look at it. But Tony Parrott and the rest of the staff decided that they were going to take the speech from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I Have a Dream, and had a lot of the different employees of MSD to read these certain sections. And it's still so riveting, it's still so compelling. But MSD stands true to its core values. It stands true to what they see for inclusivity and making sure that everything is across the board in fairness. So let's just take a look. Today, I have the distinct pleasure to do this interview featuring MSD, one of our major community contributors. But I'm excited about it because one of the initiatives that MSD has on their website is the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's an initiative that I find very compelling, very riveting, and still it resonates after all these 59 years. But I will be talking in this interview with the executive director, Mr. Tony Parrott. And Tony, welcome back again, and congratulations on this momentous, I'll say initiative. I don't know what else to call it.
Thank you for having us on Urban Lifestyles.
So I looked at it on the website, and I love it that you all put it there for everyone to see. The words and the narrative from that speech, like I said, is still riveting and it still resonates. But how did you all come up with the idea to do that and have these employees read the narrative, including yourself?
Well, first of all, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. is an icon. And to your point, the I Have a Dream speech was something that it really doesn't age. If you look at the words and you look at the message and you look at comparing the timing and the issues that were going on in society back in the 1950s and the 1960s, and you fast forward to 2021, it's really shocking that the words really fit today's time. Here at MSD, we have a value system that is grounded in making sure that we respect one another, that we have a mission that is looking at economic inclusion, a mission that is looking at community revitalization, and a mission that is looking at how we can be good stewards not only to the environment, but to the communities we serve. And when you think about I Have a Dream, Martin Luther King Jr. really laid the foundation for not only our nation, but for a generation of folks. And, you know, we were just really honored to really, as a part of our internal equity inclusion program, to be able to bring together a group of MSD employees, a diverse group of MSD employees, to recite the I Have a Dream speech in commemoration of Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
I could have said it any better to explain it. Now, I have to share what came to mind for me as I was watching it, because I'm thinking, look at the diverse group of the employees, the different, voices and inflection and tones, but their names were present, and I guess the role that they played within MSD. And then it came to mind for me when I think about, I would call it the mission statement that MSD has. And when you all do, I believe it's the diversity supplier and the contract to ensure that there's going to be representation. And I don't know if a lot of people know about that, but just having this initiative, this project, brought all that to mind for me.
Yeah, when you think about the I Have a Dream speech, it really focused on making sure that certain sectors of our community had have access to economic inclusion, access to voting rights. And when you think about what's going on in this country today, you almost see where we have made progress under the vision and the foundation of Martin Luther King Jr., but we have this power sector out there that is trying to resist and trying to take us back to a period in time when there was voter suppression, when there was oppression. And those type of acts to a certain sector of our society really brings about what I call the poison pill, which is poverty. And when you have poverty in a community, you're going to have crime, and you're going to have social unrest. And all those things come out of the history of our country, where we were grounded in oppressing certain sectors of people.
That was a great piece that he did. And when you look at Tony Parrott, you kind of see him kind of like channeling Martin Luther King.
I said, how did you all get to do this type of initiative? And he said, you have to have leadership that has courage.
You know what? That's great. And I think that's our show.
And that's our time.
And we'll see you back here next time on Urban Lifestyles.
Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.